welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are working on our series on how to write a novel from an idea all the way up to getting it onto the shelf. We already did our brainstorming session and now we're doing part two, which is the theme and the premise. Now, I like to do this here right now after we've already brainstormed an idea. The premise is something that we'll be doing twice. I like to put it here because it helps me create sort of a roadmap in my mind on what I want to accomplish in the book. But then we'll refine it much later when we're getting ready to pitch our idea. So it's not going to be perfect now. That's totally fine. So let's get into the definitions. I have my notes here, so that's why I'm looking down. A theme is a general topic, idea, subject. It's usually just either a single word or a single phrase. So a theme could be something like loneliness, greed, envy, or if you wanted to put that into a phrase, it could be true beauty is what's within. You know, that could be the theme to like Beauty and the Beast or any story that's very similar to that. For example, the Godfather movie, you could say the themes are power and family and loyalty. That works really well. For Midsummer, obviously my favorite movie, we could say that the themes are grief. We could do rebirth for sure. If we're looking at Hereditary, the theme might be trauma, abuse, family, toxicity. So take a second and think about some of your favorite movies or your favorite books and try to narrow them down to maybe a handful of words that can help you figure out what the themes are. Once you have your themes of your own story, I would suggest writing them out and sticking them up on the wall behind wherever you're doing all your writing from. I like to get tons and tons of note cards, and by the end of all of our brainstorming, the back of the wall of my workstation is covered in note cards. But it's always nice to be able to see these things while I'm writing to keep me on track. So, for example, when I was doing Food Fright, my theme was resilience and revenge. And so I would put those up, and then every single chapter I made sure that I was moving toward what I wanted to say about those themes. And that's really important. Now the premise, like I said, we're going to do this in two parts, now and later. So it's okay if you don't have everything you need for the premise. The premise is going to end up being a 1 or 2 sentence, basically a pitch. It's going to be your protagonist, your conflicts, your inner and outer stakes. Why I like to do this now is that it helps concrete me into the ideas of the themes. It helps keep me focused because once you start writing and drafting, it's very easy to go into a bunch of different avenues. But if I know ahead of time what my premise is, where I want to take it, it helps keep me on track. So a premise might be, for example, for Midsummer, it could be something like Dani, after suffering loss and grief from the death of her family, goes on a trip with her boyfriend and explores a community that offers acceptance and everything she's looking for, but at a cost. So, for example, that talks about our protagonist, Dani, talks about what's at stake for her. She's going on a trip because she's looking for the acceptance and family that she has lost, that she desperately wants. And we're going to know there's conflicts because there's a price to getting what she desires. So take a look at your idea, your brainstorm idea. You might not have names of characters and everything right now, but just kind of think, okay, maybe the protagonist is leaving an abusive relationship, trying to start over in a small town, really hoping for a brand new life to protect her and her unborn baby. She finds the first job that she can. She lies on her resume to get it, but she needs that money to start her new life. And she finds out that she's in over her head. That was my general draft premise of Beyond the Creek. Now when it came time later, after I wrote the story, I refined that and made it more specific. But it helped me to know ahead of time where I was going. So, take a look, give it a try. Let me know if you have any questions. This is part 2. After this, we do character development and move into our plot, which are some of my favorite steps. So, happy writing. Good luck.